Is enlightenment something you attain, or is it something you remember? Is everything you believe to be true merely a reflection in a distorted mirror? These are the questions we rarely dare to face, questions that can completely change how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. Throughout our lives, we continuously seek, yearn for enlightenment, hoping that one day we will reach that state of profound understanding. But have you ever asked yourself where exactly this enlightenment truly exists? When you look at the world, do you see everything clearly, or are you simply looking through a fragile layer of illusion? Are your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs the truth, or are they just shadows reflected in a distorted mirror? We are often trapped in our own concepts of self, in the I we build and believe in. But what if you realize that all of this is just a game of the mind? Take a moment to reassess everything from a different perspective. Get ready for a magical journey where these questions will no longer be something to fear, but the keys that unlock the door to your true perception of reality and spiritual enlightenment. So before we continue with the video and explore this interesting topic further, don't forget to like, subscribe to the Top Hidden Knowledge channel to stay updated on everything related to personal and spiritual growth. This helps us bring more content that can make a difference for you. For centuries, sages, mystics, and philosophers have spoken of a reality beyond our comprehension, a reality that transcends thought, an eternal presence untouched by time or space. They call it the formless God, not a deity in the way most religions describe, not a figure to be worshipped, but the very essence of existence itself. It is the source from which all things arise, and the ground into which everything ultimately dissolves. This formless presence is beyond human understanding, and yet it is everywhere, in everything. However, here's the paradox. Even though this reality is ever present, we fail to see it. Instead, we are trapped in a world filled with multiplicity, division, and illusion. Our senses deceive us, making us believe that what is temporary is permanent, what is fleeting is meaningful, and what is false is true. We build our entire lives around surface-level appearances, never questioning the deeper nature of what lies beneath. But there are those who have looked beyond the veil, those who have peeled back the layers of illusion and seen something profound. They tell us that beyond the noise, beyond the distractions of the material world, there exists a state of pure awareness, limitless, unchanging, and eternal. This awareness is not separate from you. It is you. The very essence of the universe, the source of all creation, is the same essence that resides within you. It is not a faraway force, but a deep, intrinsic part of your being. Why does this matter? Why should you care? Because to understand the formless God is to understand yourself. When you recognize this presence, you awaken from the dream of limitation. You transcend suffering and the constant cycle of birth, struggle, and decay. You realize that your identity, your personal struggles, and the world around you are not as fixed as you once believed. This realization doesn't come from intellectual philosophy. It comes from direct experience. It is the truth that has always been there, just waiting to be recognized. Now I invite you to open your mind and step beyond the constructs you've been taught. Question everything you've ever believed to be true. The illusion that holds us captive is on the brink of shattering. It is time to awaken, to see beyond the surface, and to recognize the eternal truth within you. The journey to self-realization starts here, and it will forever change how you see yourself and the world. Have you ever looked deeply at what exists around you? Everywhere you turn, you see differences, countless forms, endless variations, the vastness of the sky, the solidity of the earth, the endless movement of life. You see yourself as one, being among billions, separate from the world, distinct from others. You have your name, your past, your identity. It all feels undeniably real. But is it? This is the greatest illusion of all, the illusion of multiplicity, the belief that we are separate, that the universe is divided into countless parts. But the truth is that the macrocosm and the microcosm are not different. The universe and the individual arise from the same source. Like waves upon the surface of an ocean, they appear distinct, but they are never separate from the waters beneath them. Imagine looking up at the sky. You see clouds drifting effortlessly, seemingly floating, detached from one another. But are they really separate? Or are they simply patterns in the same boundless sky? The clouds may shift, break apart, and form new shapes, but the sky remains unchanged, ever present, untouched by their passing. This is the nature of reality. We too appear as individuals, distinct from the whole. But just as the clouds are not separate from the sky, we are not separate from the One. What you call yourself is simply a temporary expression of something much greater, something infinite, formless, and eternal. But our senses deceive us. The world appears solid, tangible. We feel pain, joy, and struggle. We chase desires. We seek meaning in temporary things. We divide the world into this and that, self and other. And so we mistake appearance for reality. We believe that the many are real, and we forget the one that holds it all together. This is why the world is described as relatively real. It exists, but only in the way a dream exists. While you are asleep, while dreaming, the experience feels vivid and unquestionable. You interact with people, places, and events. You feel emotions. You react to the dream world as though it is real. But when you wake up, what happens? The dream dissolves. The people, the places are gone. And suddenly you realize it was never real to begin with. So, what if this, what you call reality, is also just a dream? One day you wake up and see that everything you believed to be real was just a temporary illusion projected onto something far greater. The wise have spoken of this for centuries. They tell us that the world is neither fully real nor fully unreal. It is like a mirage, appearing tangible, but vanishing upon closer examination. It is pragmatically real, real enough for daily life, real enough to experience. But fundamentally, it is unreal because it is always changing. And what is true reality? That which does not change, that which is constant, unshaken, eternal. And that reality, the only true reality, is the One, the formless, the boundless, the infinite. But how do we wake up? How do we break free from the illusion? The first step is to recognize it, to see beyond the surface, beyond the illusion of multiplicity, to understand that no matter what form something takes, no matter how different things may appear, everything comes from the same source. You are not separate from the universe. You are not a fragment lost among countless others. You are the whole appearing as the part. And when you realize this, truly realize it, the illusion begins to shatter. This is only the beginning. The journey to truth continues. The mind craves definitions. It wants to name, categorize, and understand. We define things by their shape, their function, their relationship to other things. This is how we navigate the world. But what happens when we encounter something that cannot be named, cannot be contained, cannot be grasped by thought? This is the paradox of the formless God. It is not a being among other beings. It is not something that can be worshipped, feared, or loved in the way we love another person. It has no attributes, no qualities, no limits. It does not act because it is beyond action. It does not move because it exists beyond space. It does not change because it exists beyond time. It simply is. To describe it is impossible because the moment we put it into words, we have already distorted it. Words belong to the realm of duality. Where there is light, there is dark. Where there is good, there is evil. Where there is creation, there is destruction. But the formless God is beyond duality. It is neither this nor that. It is not something that can be known in the way you know a person, an object, or an idea. It is not an object of thought. It is the very ground upon which thought arises. Imagine trying to explain fire to someone who has never seen it. You can describe the way it moves, the way it flickers and dances. You can talk about its warmth, its light, its ability to consume. But no matter how many words you use, no matter how beautifully you describe it, that person will never truly know fire until they feel its heat for themselves. You cannot understand it through books, through philosophy, through mere contemplation. You can only experience it. And how is it experienced? By stilling the mind, by stepping beyond thought, by releasing the illusion of self and dissolving into the infinite. For the formless God is not separate from you. It is not somewhere else waiting to be found. It is here now. It is within you, within all things. It is the silent awareness behind your thoughts, the stillness beneath the movement of life. But as long as you seek it with the mind, you will never find it. To know the formless God is not to grasp it. It is to become it, to let go of all that is temporary, all that is illusory, and to rest in the eternal presence that has always been. This is not something that can be taught. It can only be realized. And once it is, there is no going back. In the beginning, there was only the One, boundless, infinite, formless. It was complete, needing nothing, lacking nothing. And yet from the depths of its stillness a movement arose, a whisper, a will. I am one. I will be many. And so, the illusion of creation was born. But what is this illusion? It is not a deception in the way we typically understand. It is not a lie. It is a veil, a dream that allows the one to appear as the many. It is the dance of form within the formless, the shifting waves upon an unmoving ocean. This illusion is called Maya, and it is not random. It operates through three distinct forces, three threads that weave the fabric of reality. These are the gunas, the fundamental qualities that shape all existence. The first is sattva, the quality of clarity, wisdom, and harmony. When Maya moves through sattva, it reveals the truth hidden beneath illusion. It leads to deep awareness, to an understanding of the divine nature of all things. This is the energy of light, of purity, of balance. It is the path of seekers, sages, and those who look beyond the material world to find the eternal. But then, there is Rajas, the force of movement, passion, ambition, and desire. Rajas is fire. It is drive, hunger, restlessness. It fuels creation, but it also fuels struggle. It compels beings to act, to chase, to conquer. It is the force behind every triumph, every war, every empire. It is neither good nor bad. It simply is, pushing existence forward in an endless cycle of craving and achievement. And finally, there is tamas, the force of inertia, darkness, and stagnation. It is the weight that holds things down, the cloud that obscures truth. When Maya moves through tamas, it breeds ignorance, apathy, and delusion. It is the force that keeps people trapped in illusions of separateness, in cycles of indulgence and neglect. It is the resistance to growth, the sleep of the soul. These three forces, sattva, rajas, and tamas, exist in everything, in every being, in every moment. They rise and fall, shaping perception and experience. A person dominated by sattva seeks knowledge and peace. One ruled by rajas is driven by ambition and struggle. One lost in tamas remains blind, weighed down by illusion. But here lies the key. No matter which force governs you, they are all part of the same illusion. They are all movements within the dream. To awaken, one must see through them all. Mirror shapes how you see the world, but it is not the world itself. It is a filter, a distortion, one that keeps you believing in separation, in division, in struggle. But once you recognize the illusion for what it is, you are no longer bound by it. You begin to remember, you begin to awaken. For one was never truly many. The many were always the one. Imagine standing before a mirror. The reflection you see is you, yet it is not you. It is only an image, a reversed imitation of something real. Now, imagine that mirror covered in dust, layers upon layers of distortion. The image becomes unclear, warped, fragmented. But the distortion is not in you. It is in the mirror. This is the nature of illusion. The formless God, the ultimate reality, remains unchanged, untouched, beyond all form. But when it is reflected through the mirror of illusion, it appears as something else. It appears as the world, as the self, as everything we believe to be real. But what we see is not the truth. It is only a reflection filtered through the distortion of the mind. This reflection does not appear the same to all. The clarity of what is seen depends on the nature of the mirror, and this mirror, illusion itself, takes on three forms. Just as light refracts through different lenses, when the mirror is still and polished, the reflection is clear. This is sattva, the mode of calmness, purity, and wisdom. In this state, the illusion thins and the truth shines through. The reflection is almost perfect, and in that clarity, one begins to realize that God is not separate. God is not beyond. God is all. But when the mirror is in motion, shaking and restless, the image becomes blurred, fragmented, shifting. This is rajas, the mode of passion and struggle. The reflection is there, but it is unstable. It is a soul seeking, reaching, striving, but always caught in the motion of becoming, never arriving at being. This is the world of ambition, desire, creation, and destruction, a world that appears solid but is always changing. And then, there is a mirror so thick with dust that almost nothing can be seen, a mirror clouded, darkened, lost to itself. This is tamas, the mode of inertia, ignorance, and forgetfulness. In this state, the reflection is buried under layers of illusion, and the truth is all but invisible. One sees only the material world, believing it to be the only reality. The soul forgets its divine nature, lost in the illusion of separateness. But no matter how distorted the mirror becomes, the reality behind it remains unchanged. The formless God is not affected by illusion, only our perception of it is. And here lies the great truth. The distortion can be removed, the dust can be wiped away, the mirror can be stilled. When that happens, the illusion fades. And what was always there, what was always real, is seen as it truly is. How does one escape an illusion? Not by fighting it, not by resisting it, but by seeing through it. The illusion of separateness, the illusion of form, the illusion of self, all of it exists only because we believe in it. We cling to names, to identities, to the material world, mistaking shadows for reality. But the moment you stop chasing the illusion, the moment you stop feeding it with belief, it begins to dissolve. This is the path to liberation. The first step is to recognize that the objective world, the shifting dance of forms, pleasures, pains, desires, is not ultimate reality. It is temporary, fleeting, ever-changing. What is here today will be gone tomorrow. The body, the mind, the identity you wear like a mask, none of it is permanent. And what is not permanent cannot be real. So you begin to detach, not by rejecting life, not by escaping from the world, but by seeing it for what it truly is, a passing reflection, a dream. You move through it without attachment, like a traveler passing through a city that is not his home. You play your role, but you do not mistake the role for who you are. Then, the second step, realizing that the individual soul is not separate from the one. You are not a fragment, not a small piece broken off from something greater. You are the whole appearing in a temporary form. The drop of water is not separate from the ocean. The wave is not apart from the sea. It only seems that way when viewed from the surface, but beneath it, it is all the same. And then, the third step, the dissolution of the creator concept, the idea of a personal God, separate from you, ruling over existence, disappears. Because who is the creator? It is not an external being. It is not a distant power. It is the very essence of existence itself, the formless, the eternal, the ever-present source from which all things arise and into which all things return. Once you realize this, once the illusion of separation crumbles, there is no more self to seek, no more world to chase, no more veil to obscure real reality. There is only that, the one, the infinite, the formless, And in that moment, everything falls silent. The struggle ends. The search is over. You do not become enlightened. You realize you always were. You do not reach liberation. You remember you were never bound. This is transcendence, not an escape from reality, but a return to what has always been real. Not a journey to something new, but a homecoming to what you have always been. The illusion ends the moment you stop believing in it, and when it does, only the formless God remains. At the core of your being, beneath the layers of illusion, beyond the shifting thoughts, desires, and fears, there exists something vast, something unchanging, something infinite. This essence is beyond the grasp of ordinary thought. It cannot be named. It has no form, and it carries no identity. It is not something separate from you. It is you, your truest, deepest self. It is the silent awareness behind every thought you have, the stillness beneath all movement. It is the source from which all things arise and the ground into which all things ultimately dissolve. Yet despite its presence, we forget. We become so enmeshed in the illusion of separateness that we fail to recognize the truth. We are not small limited beings bound by flesh and time. In reality, we are the divine encased within. This realization, the ultimate awakening, is the end of the search. It is the moment when the illusion falls away, and you recognize that the divine is not something external, something to seek outside yourself. The truth is, it has always been within you, waiting to be remembered. This moment of self-realization is not some far-off distant event. It is a recognition of what has always been there, hidden beneath the layers of false identity and illusion. But to reach this realization, you must first ask yourself an important question. What level of consciousness am I at right now? Are you still bound by your desires, lost in the pursuit of material pleasures, possessions, and status? Are you living in a constant state of struggle, driven by ambition, by the need to achieve, to conquer, to be something more? Or have you begun to search for something deeper, something more enduring? Truth, wisdom, and clarity? Your desires are a mirror to your state of being. They show you exactly where you are on your path. If your desires are rooted in the external world, in the ever-changing dream of form and material reality, then you remain trapped in the cycle of illusion. True liberation begins when you turn inward, when your desire shifts from the temporary to the eternal, from the fleeting to the unchanging. And for this shift, there is only one path: meditation. However, meditation is not what most people think it is. It is not simply sitting in silence, nor is it merely repeating words or performing rituals. These are just outer expressions, surface-level practices that may prepare the mind, but do not lead to true transformation. True meditation is much deeper. It is a process of dissolving, the dissolution of thought, the dissolution of self, and the dissolution of illusion, until only the one, the true essence, remains. This path of meditation is not instant. It requires patience, dedication, and a willingness to surrender. There are stages to this journey. First, there is ritual, the external acts of devotion, discipline, and practice that prepare the mind for deeper work. This ritual creates the foundation, the structure that allows the mind to focus and begin the inner journey. Then comes concentration, the ability to still the distractions of the restless mind, to quiet the incessant chatter that keeps us bound to the surface of our thoughts. Once the mind is more focused, you enter meditation, the state where thought begins to fade away, where the sense of self starts to dissolve. And finally, there is bliss, the moment when the mind completely dissolves, and what remains is awareness itself. This awareness is vast, boundless, and free from the limitations of time and space. It is the ultimate state of being. But why do so many people fail to reach this state? Why do so many people remain stuck in the illusion? The answer lies in the external focus. Many people perform the rituals but never go beyond them. They repeat the words but never enter into silence. They try to meditate, but they don't truly let go. They hold on to their identities, their thoughts, their egos, the very things that must dissolve for true awakening to occur. To truly awaken, you must surrender completely. You must let go of everything you think you are, your identities, your beliefs, your attachments. You must step beyond all concepts, all beliefs, all illusions. Only then will you find the truth. And here is the truth. You are not separate. You were never separate. You are the divine within. The feeling of separateness, the idea that you are an isolated being, is a mere illusion. You are always connected to the source, to the divine essence that permeates everything. This realization is not something you need to search for. It is something that you must awaken to. It has always been here. Now is the time to wake up. The time to stop waiting, to stop searching, and to stop questioning. The time is now. There is no more need for doubt or fear. The truth is within you, and the moment you recognize it, the illusion dissolves. No more separation, no more searching for something outside yourself. You are already whole, already complete, and awakened to the truth that has always been within you. Thank you for watching. If you learned something from this video, please like, subscribe to the Top Hidden Knowledge channel for more content on wisdom, spirituality, and personal growth. Or if you have time, check out other videos on this channel. Until next time.